everyone. I'm John McElroy, and I'm your host with the Florida Aviation Network for this segment. We're broadcasting live and in the clear during the U.S. Sport Aviation Expo 2018 here at Sebring Regional Airport. And our next guest is Brant Howell. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Well, we've got a viewer audience all over the world who's going to learn about your company, Leading Edge Aviation. So we're going to talk all about it, and I'd love to hear your story. So take it away. I mean, tell me what is going on with you and your business.
Well, we're a new business here at Sebring. We officially opened up our location here this past November. Now, having said that, we've been in the flight training business for probably close to 35 years. Owned a couple locations up in Southwest Virginia, up around the Roanoke area there.
Yep.
And there was something appealing about 365 days of good flying weather.
It's a great place to learn, isn't it?
It's a fantastic
Sebring is a great spot.
It really is. My wife and I operate the company. It's a mom and pop operation here. And we've grown and expanded over the years with a variety of aircraft and instructors. And we became empty nesters here recently, and we decided to move south.
Great, great. Well, welcome to Central Florida.
Thank you.
And I hope, is that the sim across the way there?
That is our
So
Redbird
I met your
FMX.
wife earlier. She's wonderful, and she's been taking names for all these great possible students that are going to come your way. And so tell us, what would it be like to be that person walking up and, saying hi, and my name's so-and-so, and I want to go from zero to hero. How do they come at it?
Absolutely. So the Redbird has really been a showpiece for us here. It's allowed us to introduce folks who've never been in an airplane, period, commercial or otherwise, to the guy that's been rusty and out of the business for 15, 20 years, and he thinks, you know what, I'd like to maybe revisit it. So using the Redbird, we're able to introduce people to flight in general, or to the guy who's thinking about getting his toes wet again and getting him back in the saddle.
Yeah, well, we've been addressing the rusty pilot issue all morning long here. We're talking with Jamie Beckett and the AOPA gang doing their rusty pilot program. So that's been a big theme here. Do you see a lot of people coming in for that?
We do indeed. We do indeed. And it's been everything from the sport pilot wanting to get back current and proficient to the instrument pilot looking to maybe get his IPC and become instrument proficient again. It seems to be an exciting time in aviation across the country, as I'm sure you know.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your facility and the types of airplanes that you're flying.
Sure. We've got a little different business model than most flight schools, I think, where we offer a variety of different training options. Everything private, instrument, commercial, CFI training is something we've specialized in over the years. In addition to that, seaplane training. Okay, so we like to give a wide variety of training options, from a 172 to a Lake Buccaneer.
Okay, great. Yeah. So you can go from zero to hero and do it in airplane single engine and land, or airplane single engine C.
Absolutely.
And get all that going on. Do you have a multi-engine airplane too?
We're working on a multi-engine airplane right now. In fact, we're talking with Technam right next door to us here, right here, and looking at some options and possibilities with them.
Do you think you'd like the 2006 or the 2012 Technam?
Well, I'll take either one at this.
Right? Yeah. Just give me a multi and we'll work it out from there.
Just give me a multi and we'll work it out.
Got it.
Fantastic airplane.
Well, tell me about the people that work with you. I know I've met your wife. We've got you, and you guys are leading the line and carrying the flag. Who's stepping up behind you?
Sure. It's been really kind of a great thing. We opened up here, and by purpose and deliberately, we decided we were going to start with just one instructor, myself here, okay, to get this thing off the ground. Well, as people have walked through the front door there, they've seen the FMX there, they've seen our facility, and we've really been embraced by some more mature CFIs. I'll leave it that way, which has been a great thing. As most flight schools have kind of experienced here, it's been very difficult for us to retain instructors. There was a time when I could hold on to an instructor. I would plan on 18, 24 months before they were ready to go. Recently, we've had 2 instructors here hit their 1,000-hour mark there. The airlines are courting them already, pre-hiring them, and they're gone at 1,500 hours in a matter of 12, 14 months.
Yeah, I understand. I see that all over the place, you know. Well, I'm glad to hear that you've got some seasoned, talented staff, and that's a great segue to my next question, and that is, let's hear a little bit about where you got your start. What's your aviation background?
Sure.
When did you start flying?
Sure.
And what did that look like?
Yep. My dad was an old Allegheny guy, and actually Mohawk Airlines before that, and then on to U.S. Air.
Great stuff.
So I was fortunate growing up to be able to ride along on his lap and jump seat back when we could do those kinds of things.
Did you grow up in Roanoke?
No, we grew up in outside of Allentown, New Jersey.
Okay.
There, where we still have a little grass strip up there.
Oh.
Okay. PA 25. Anybody's always welcome to drop in there. Yep. Okay.
I've been there, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I have, in the Sea Ray on my way up there. There's
Really?
a couple of Sea Ray guys up there. And then JC Seymour is not too far from there. Anyway, we probably know a few people together, so I know where you're talking about. And it's a beautiful area to learn to fly.
It really is, yeah.
Eastern PA like that.
Yep. I mean,
Or,
had an
that
airplane
region.
growing up through life. We took our family vacations in the Cherokee 6. So I was very fortunate and lucky to have that exposure.
So Dad
there.
flew professionally, and
Yes.
then you guys had a family airplane,
Yes.
and then you learned to fly that. Did you
That-
solo when you were 16?
I did.
Awesome. Do you have any brothers and sisters that flew as well?
You know, I don't. My younger brother went in a different direction than I, and I came close to going in a different direction. At the time, I was kind of groomed to go to the airlines. Things were taking a bit of a tank.
Right.
So we decided to see if we could find a little niche in flight training, and that's where we've been happy ever since. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know we keep talking about that avenue of growth for pilots. It's not always just going through your ratings and going into the airlines. You know, of course, that's a lot of the focus with all the job opportunities, but there are so many more opportunities when you stay on the GI side of things. And being a professional pilot as a flight instructor, and then even possibly business owner like you're doing, it's quite a lot of fun. It can be very lucrative if you do it right. And when you surround yourself with those kind of people, I don't think you can have any more fun, personally.
It's amazing. I always say I think I've got the best flying job out there.
I agree.
I do.
I agree.
Yep.
So those things are near and dear to my heart, and I love hearing more about how you started flying. So you got the family 6-seater, and you got your instrument rating through that, and your commercial. Is that correct?
We did. I actually took my my commercial ratings over at Teterboro in New Jersey.
Okay.
Okay, with a fella that was called Lou Ranley, and Lou Ranley was a legend of times, and he flew with the likes of Arthur Godfrey and ran with that crew.
How about that?
Yep.
Well, then those of you would know him from down here in Stewart. Lou's got his little footprints. You can see that if you're into the history of who was who back in those days. Yeah.
He was who was who.
Right.
Was who, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually know who that is.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So your stock just went up 5 points just from that alone. Well, and then does your wife fly?
She's still looking for a good instructor. She reminds me of that all the time there.
Awesome. That's very funny.
She does. We're actually getting her. It's tough, as you know. It's like the carpenter who comes home and wants to build cabinets for the wife. It's tough. But since we've been here, we've been able to kind of capitalize a little better on our time with the simulator. We're getting her in there flying approaches and landings.
Great.
So we're going to make it happen.
Well,
this
and the
year.
Redbird Sim over there is just phenomenal, and it's literally set up in the terminal building here at the Sebring Regional Airport, live. Right across the hall from where we're broadcasting, they're performing sim events. You can jump in there and start flying around and have a good time. Is that what you've been doing, or who's in there now?
So we've got a couple folks that are partnered with us in the simulator, and Bob Hartman is a pilot that I taught how to fly here about 5 years ago. And we've trained him, given him a somewhat crash course in training people how to get in that thing and just have a good time.
Oh,
with
good.
It
So, so we're introducing people as quickly as we can get them in there with
Yes.
him behind the controls.
Exactly.
Still, that's a good time. So, where are you located on the field when
We
people
are
come
in the office directly behind the simulator.
Okay.
We're right in the main FBO here.
Great,
Yes.
great. What a great location.
It is.
And then
It
you
is.
keep your aircraft out on the flight line. It's just been
We
moved
have
for the
T
show.
hangars. Yep.
Oh, and T hangers in the
Hangars
back.
down here. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, great. Wow, excellent. Well, tell me about some of the programs that are offered when you have, like, for instance, a sport pilot program and then a private pilot. How does that
The
work?
sport pilot program we're putting together now. Again, we're looking for the right platform, and I think Tectum will probably be our go-to folks for that aircraft there. But a private through commercial with a CFI rating there is what we're really kind of structured for.
So that
right
package.
Now. That package.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is it part 61 or part 141?
Part 61. We have operated on Part 141 in the past, and we may revisit that, but our initial thinking here is a little different model. We just want to be a premier, I think, Part 61 school here.
Understood.
Yes. Yep.
Well, after you've gotten your private rating, can the folks come over and like in an FBO, can they rent the planes and go places and things like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so tell me some of the adventures you've had with some of the students. Give me a scenario where you were just having the best time and you revisited that moment where you're like, I remember this, having so much fun like this. Give me a story.
Sure. I would have to say one of the more recent ones here has occurred in the seaplane.
Nice.
And, I had a fellow who was recently out of the Marines, a great guy, had served several times over there, and he was looking for a way to really just decompress and just to enjoy his time home. And he had tried various different things, hiking, and they all did things for him, but he says, you know what, I've never experienced a flight, and especially flight off of water. He's jumped out of them, rappelled out of them, hung off them, dove out of them, about everything you can imagine. So we fixed him up one afternoon up there at Smith Mountain Lake up there in Virginia, and it was a late afternoon flight, and talked him through some basics, how to do a step landing and everything, and he got very good very quickly. And after about the first 30 minutes, I kind of look over and cheat and take a peek at the guys like I usually do. And it was a transformation. It was an actual transformation.
You can see it in his body, can't you?
You can see it in his body and the way his posture, his shoulders and everything.
Right.
And he's been hard at it ever since.
Well, I can appreciate that. Having just spent some time in Southern Virginia there, Smith Mountain Lake and a Buccaneer, cruising around the low country there at the base of the Appalachian Mountains down at the southern end of the Shenandoah Valley.
Beautiful.
You can't get any sweeter than that, can you?
Yep. Yeah. Sebring's it runs a pretty close neck to neck with
I like it. I understand where you're going. People don't realize when you're in a seaplane like you're talking about down here in Central Florida, just north of us is one of the runs of the Kissimmee River, shooting right through the middle of some of the most pristine state park land around here. We've got all these little spots to, jump in and visit big old lunker bass that have never seen a worm before. So, if you want to go that route. But, for pilots, we just want to kind of go down, kiss the water, come back up and visit and take a look all around.
And that's key. We could visit here without wearing out our welcome, really, because there's such an abundance of different lakes, so we don't have to, pick up the phone and say, oh, this guy's worrying me to death out here. So it gives us opportunities to move.
Being a good neighbor.
To be a good neighbor. Exactly.
I totally get that.
Exactly, yep.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So you could come down to Leading Edge, walk in the terminal building, come over here to the simulator, see if you like flying and just have from the technical standpoint. Then you could walk back into the office maybe and meet with you guys and then jump out on the flight line and start having some fun like this, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very cool. That's a one-stop.
The office, we have entrance right out to the patio out there. It's a great place just to observe. So we come back from a lesson and you want to say, geez, that landing, that flare, what's going on with that? You could sit there and kind of, you're up close and personal there, watching the activity and the traffic and everything on runway 1 there. And it's just a great spot for it.
Well, being a tenant and a vendor here at the airport, what's it like to work in Sebring as a business owner? How's that going?
It's exceeded every expectation that we had.
Wow.
It really has, John. The folks here at the airport, Mike and Bev and everything, they've been more than accommodating and really welcomed us here with open arms, which makes a big difference here for us.
We're going to interview Beverly Glarner later on this afternoon, so we'll hear more about their plans for the future. Yep. How about your plans for the future? What's going on with that? What other big dreams do you have? I like hearing about your multi-engine ideas. What else?
Sure, that's our short term. In order to offer, the career-oriented student that full package there, the multi is definitely on track here. We embrace technology, but I'm still a stick and rudder kind of guy, so we still like the basics. We still require students to operate an E6B, begrudgingly, but but they do. Yep.
It's great.
And draw a line on a chart. So while we want to grow and continue bringing young people into the business, we also want to see folks who have, for whatever reasons, life, have had to let it go by the wayside, and we're here to get them back to where they can enjoy flying again.
I understand. Now, what are some of the struggles that you've had as well? I mean, we've heard about some of the good things that are happening, but what are some of the tough spots? I'm an instructor too, so we can talk about, one of the things I'm kind of alluding to, or sometimes I see, is that the integration of safety isn't, the technical aspect of flight is being taught, but the safety thing is sometimes is dropped out. How do you guys integrate that into your training program? I mean, what is it about your system that you're so proud of in terms of the safety lessons to be learned?
Sure. A personal model or a personal thought process that every student is made aware of when they first walk through that door is, in order for it to work for them and in order for it to work for us, it has to be two things. It has to be safe and it has to be fun. The emphasis, of course, is on safe here, okay? So we have the G1000. We have all those fancy gadgets.
Pretty
we have
nice.
the iPads and everything. And it's great technology, but we want our students to be able to fly the airplane when all that stuff fails, okay? So part of that package, I think part of what separates us from some of the larger schools that have large student populations is we're able to spend a more personable experience with them there. And in part, a lot of just knowledge that I've gained over the years there, that an instructor who's new to the system, not that they're great instructors, they just don't have that base.
Right, they don't have the background to it. Yeah, we call it "there I was," right?
There I was. There I don't want to be again. Exactly.
Well, so that one-on-one personal connection is really your forte. That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. Yep, yeah. Absolutely. And that's why we've, we're going to be very selective and very deliberate in our choice of instructors going forward here. Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
Well, we always like to open up any whatever we haven't talked about. Is there something else that you'd like to promote in terms of what's going on with your business that we haven't discussed yet?
Various things here to anybody who's even considered what it would be like to experience flight, and you just say, or maybe you're like to go visit family and you're intimidated by getting on a commercial airline. Come out and fly the simulator.
Boy, that's a great. That's a really great program. And so you're talking about understanding what's happening and pinch hitting with
absolutely with spouses.
Spouses are significant others, and even the kids, to get them to see what it's like to be in the back of an airplane, or and then later to come up into the front. That's great.
Just a quick to kind of drive that home. I just came in with a flight with a student here who's down for the winter from Maryland. And they walked in, they were looking at the simulator, and they said, well, I think I'd like to try the simulator. And I said, great, that'd be great. They chatted a little bit, and the father and son were talking. The boy said, I'd really like to get in an airplane. I said, well, we can arrange that too. So we get down and start our pre-flight, and I asked him, I said, well, what kind of experience do you have? He says, none. I said, well, you've never been in a general aviation airplane? He said, no, I've never been in an airplane at all.
Wow, first flight.
Ever.
Wow.
And today's out practicing landings with a 20-knot crosswind.
Wow, I can't believe it. I hope he's having a good time. I'm certain he's going to be blown away.
Yeah.
Literally.
Again, as instructor, when you look over there and you see that smile ear to ear on him, something's clicking.
Well, and that's exactly what we're talking about. That's in terms of what's here as an opportunity. You guys can come down here to Sebring during the Light Sport Expo and just walk in the front door and meet Brant and say, hey, I'm ready to go. That's exactly what we're trying to say is a possibility for you. So come on down with your family. And my co-host, Lori, wants to say that you're either 2 or 92 and you're still a kid. You're walking in and having a good time. So
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, you were talking about the simulator sitting in here. So how far can you take your training in the sim these days? When you walk in, that's one of the first things that you see. Sure. You don't see it on screen, but right across the hall from where we are right now is this beautiful Redbird simulator. So you can go from an introduction flight to all the way. What's the sequence with that now?
Yep. So the real beauty of the FMX is also it's a modular platform, and by that I mean we can change aircraft literally from a multi-engine to a single-engine airplane in about 10 minutes. So for the person that's looking for that first introduction to flight, we have a Cessna 172 with good old round gauges in there that we can put them in, and they can understand the 4 fundamentals of flight. What affects us here, okay? Sight picture, all those things that you may take multiple times in an airplane to master can be done in the simulator, okay?
Well, so that's the primary training, and then you said so you can do initial primary in a single and then a multi as well.
Absolutely. Instrument, you can log 20 hours now.
Wow.
The FAA's revisited that, I'm sure we're aware of here. 20 hours towards your instrument rating, 50 hours towards your commercial rating there. So that's a huge time saver and a huge money saver.
Wow, you bet.
Yep.
50 hours towards a commercial.
50 hours towards the commercial.
Wow,
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. So with the fidelity on the sim, what kind of screen? I actually haven't been in. I stood in line and took a look, but I ended up having to be on camera, but I certainly would like to check it out. What's inside when you go in with the...
So right now we are configured for the Tecnam 2006T, okay, which is the twin engine.
That's
the twin.
fantastic.
Fantastic. And the Redbird has 6 flat LCD panels that give you a surround visual panoramic view of it, which gives you a real sense of depth perception and motion, okay? So that in itself is very often sufficient to give you that sensation of movement in flight. And then when you couple that with the motion platform, the immersion that takes place in about 5 minutes is incredible. Okay.
Is this a 3-degree rotation
It is,
sim?
yes.
So it's a
Yep.
3-axis
Pitch,
sim.
roll, and yaw.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that just must be as real as it gets.
It is. It is. The ability of the instructor there from his instructor station to input weather changes, to input system failures and stuff is just invaluable. It really is. And to do it subtly, not just to reach over and cover up an instrument with a sticky note or something like that to introduce those
like we learned.
Like,
exactly. I think that's what you're getting at.
Exactly.
Yeah. So real life scenario based training.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
And my hats are off to Redbird because they brought this technology down to mom and pop operations, things that were really reserved for the airlines for years and years. Yeah.
Certainly.
Yep.
Have you ever been in a level D sim like the airlines?
I have,
Yeah. Okay.
I have, yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And so what software are they running on? Is that an X-Plane or do you know what that is in the back?
It's evolved. The original software was coded by Microsoft, okay? And then Microsoft had a military version of it called ESP. Well, I guess it's been about 8 years now that Lockheed Martin has taken over the development of the software there, and they've just gone full bore with it.
Yeah, that's right.
Full bore, yeah.
I forget the name of their software, but I know it's from them.
Prepared.
Lockheed. Yeah, prepared.
Prepared.
With and the EED is 3 prepared. spelled
Absolutely, yep.
3. Exactly.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Sure.
I think that's great. So we're talking about super high res graphics. If that's what's running in that sim, that is just the best of the best
exactly
right there with the
what's
3D modeling.
Yep.
So.
And in addition to that, and this is it's the beauty of this thing is it's a work in progress. We've partnered in the past with a company called Pilot Edge. So anybody that's got that push-to-talk mic fright there is a great platform to overcome that. So what this company has done is via the internet here now, we can talk in real time to what are in most cases retired controllers.
Right. And actually do a real ATC scenario in live training.
Exactly.
Well, you know, our theme is flying into the future, and that actually ties right into us wrapping it up. And can you believe it? We've been talking for 30 minutes about being with you, and I can tell there'd be a lot of fun as an instructor to take some lessons with you. So thanks for your time.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
Well, from Sebring Airport in the lobby of the terminal building at the U.S. Sport Aviation Expo 2018, I'm John McElroy, one of your hosts for the Florida Aviation Network. We'll talk to you on our next guest.